Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
All right, we are now to number 90 on the 49ers 2023 roster countdown. And Marlon Davidson, one of the newest 49er, just added recently. Shout out to Brian White, the executive producer of this show, doing all the research and did a heck of a job. Marlon Davidson's the newest guy. Now, he's weird. He's an in-between prospect, as a edge/defensive tackle. I always thought he was going to be a defensive tackle. Whenever I jump into my pre-draft write-up on him, it just made sense. He's 6'3", 303, okay? He wants to be a linebacker. You go to his college tape, which he played at Auburn. It was hilarious because he was a middle linebacker at like 290 pounds, but he's just such a freak athlete, and he's just got an insane motor. Probably my favorite thing about him is just all-out effort all the freaking time, and it showed in college, even in the NFL, which he has not done well at. Just be very, very honest. But he's a 5.04 40-yard dash at 300 pounds. That's pretty good. But, man, he just plays so hard all the time. Now, what I want to do today is kind of go back to his college, his high school, who he is as a person, because the NFL has not worked out. Let's just be very, very blunt. And there is a pretty strong possibility that this could be one of his last spots, because if you can't succeed here, then I think it's kind of going to be done. It just kind of what it is, because he's going into his fourth year. He's only played 2 years. Last year, knee injuries. We'll detail that and the timeline and all those things, why I'm not too concerned about the knee issue. But he just has not been productive when he's on the field. Okay, so now let's jump in the DeLorean, and let's get to know this guy and who he is and why he was valued so high as a second-round pick. It didn't take long. He was a 5-star prospect coming out of high school. Quote, it's his blend of power and quickness with this 6'3", 260-pound frame, end quote. He was an edge guy. Everybody thought he was going to be an edge guy. And that was one of the college recruiting sites that put that out there. But they thought he was going to be a strong side defensive end. He just kept getting bigger. He doesn't have bad weight. He's just a big frame dude, Alabama boy, all that kind of stuff. Never had long arms, but he's very heavy-handed. He's not built for a certain spot. He's a better football player than he is a defensive tackle or a defensive end or an off-ball linebacker, and he's just got certain traits that kind of put him all over the place, just to be really honest with you. And he came out of high school, he was the number 2 strong side defensive end in the entire country. He was ranked 1 spot ahead of Quinnen Williams and 1 spot behind his high school teammate, Mack Wilson, who was drafted. Eventually, he became a linebacker. He plays for the Browns currently. Now, he was a multi-sport stud, just an absolute stud. He helped his team in Alabama, G.W. Carver High School in Montgomery, Alabama. It led them, one of the players led them to a 2015 6A state championship in basketball. Like, this dude, 6A is no joke in Alabama basketball, just so you understand. Was just a beast. Now, after that, tragedy kind of struck. His mother passed away, and then he had to relocate back to Greenville, Greenville, Alabama, where he used to live, not near as a powerhouse type place, whatever. But he had already gotten the recognition of so many people, chose to give up basketball his senior year, just focus on football. 5-star recruit, he was up there. Chose Auburn, goes to Auburn, does well, graduated, which is awesome, in 2019, and I believe it was liberal studies degree. And he chose to go to Auburn because his older brother, Ken Carter, played there earlier, and now Ken Carter, his brother, is actually a coaching assistant on Auburn's staff. And so Auburn's pretty thick in the family, which is really, really cool. And so Marlon graduated in 2019, then went and played in the Senior Bowl. I can never stress this enough. Shanahan, John Lynch, Adam Peters, all of them, resounding Senior Bowl, so important to them. Even if they don't draft you, he got on the radar for the 49ers at that time. So now let's jump. Okay, let's pivot. I'm going to read part of my draft write-up on him in 2020, okay? That's whenever he got drafted, second round. He went pick 47 to the Falcons. This is my draft write-up before he ever played one snap in the NFL, and then we'll see how close we were. But more importantly than that, I just think it tells us this is who he was and who the Niners saw him to be. I think is, man, he was a 4-year starter. He started as a true freshman on the defensive line in Auburn, the very first freshman to have that happen since 1985. Rare traits, rare ability, and he was all over the place. 4-year starter. He had 28 tackles for loss, 14.5 sacks, 9 passes defensed, 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries. I mean, he was just all over the place. He had 3 block kicks in 1 year alone. Like, he's a player. Now, here's what I said. I said, played on the edge for 4 years, but lacks the bend to be edge in the NFL. I think he's going to be an interior guy for most teams. Looks funny. He wore jersey number 3, which is pretty fire. And so he wore jersey 3, was about 300 pounds, and stood up playing linebacker. Like, it was just fun. I put this, the more I watch, the more I like. Really good hips. If he dropped 20 pounds, he could play edge. I don't think that's where he's going to be. Power player, incredible motor, very good motor. As I watched him, just motor. Kusaric loves these guys, right? It's kind of a Kerry Hyder type player that's going to be even more inside. He could play some outside, but I doubt that. My player comp was Robert Gathers with more size. I had a late second, early third round grade on him. He was a team captain. That's huge. So Senior Bowl, check. Team captain, check. Elite pedigree, check, right? He's got all those things going in his favor. Now, he gets drafted by the Falcons. They've been dying for good defensive line depth. They just can't get it. And this didn't work out. He comes in 2020, his rookie year. He played in 8 games. Really couldn't even get a stat. Struggled with pretty much everything. You know, I'm looking at his, snaps on Pro Football Focus. He had 132 snaps his rookie year. Not good. And 0 pressures as a defensive lineman. Not great. So no pressures. Terrible rookie year, just to be honest with you. Then he comes back 2021, got 270 snaps, registered 4 pressures. Still really, really bad. Had 1 sack. Probably his best play by far. 2021, he had a pick 6 against Tom Brady, which Tom Brady's pretty damn hard to, intercept. Had a pick 6 against him whenever he was on the Bucs. And so that's kind of what you can hang your hat on, but his stats are terrible. 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit, 1 tackle for loss. That's it. And he's played over, 300 snaps in the NFL. Just has not put anything up there. So he's got to show something. If he washes out here, I think it could almost be done. I really, really, and I hate to say that. Like, I pull for everybody. I'm not rooting against anybody. But I'm telling you right now, the only reason why he was brought in is because of the pedigree, second-round pick. We'll see. He might get one more chance after this. But last year, 2022, he missed weeks 1 and 2 because of a knee strain. It was a grade 1 knee strain. Wasn't getting better. Went in for arthroscopic surgery. Which isn't usually the end of the world, can take like 4 to 8 weeks, whatever. But on a back-end roster guy, that's all it took. And so they kept him around for 6 weeks. And October 25th, they released him. So you draft a guy in the second round. He's only started 1 game. 1 game. He's played in 19, but the injury was just too much. And they were just like, you know what? We're moving on. The good news is he had his surgery in September 1st of 2022. So he will be a full year past that. It's not an ACL. It wasn't that. So should be good. I'm sure the Niners took him through a physical, all those things. The Niners signed him May 8th, 2023. Most recent addition, really. And we're going to have to see what it looks like. Now, all right, let's talk about what is Marlon Davidson's role with the 49ers? He's going to have to make a splash early. I'm just going to be really, really honest with you. Now, what's weird is there's not a lot of defensive linemen on this team because it's so stacked on who's going to make it. Like, we're low on numbers. We have way too many wide receivers, but whatever. why would you want to come here if you were a defensive tackle? Because it's almost impossible to break this roster. Last year, they were keeping 5 defensive tackles active on the 53. Then last year, they bumped it up to 6 and took away Drake Jackson in the end, right? So do the Niners go back to the historical, okay, we're keeping 5 defensive tackles, or do they stick with this new movement of keeping 6? Well, okay, let's give you the 5 or the 6, right? Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead, locks, guaranteed starters, whatever. Javon Kinlaw, Kevin Givens, Kalia Davis. That's 5. Now, Kalia Davis hasn't played one snap, redshirted last year, but he's going to get his shot. And we'll see. I mean, he might not pan out, definitely the case, but that's 5. If Kalia Davis doesn't make it, T.Y. McGill, who played great snaps, for us last year, experienced, veteran, solid, not going to be amazing, but you know what you're going to get. He would be that 6 guy. Then you got Alex Barrett, who's been a career practice squad guy that can play inside out, provides versatility. The coaches love Alex Barrett, so it's hard to pass him. You bring in undrafted free agent Spencer Wage out of North Dakota State. He could kind of, again, versatility guy inside, outside. And then you got Marlon Davidson. We got him number 90 on our roster countdown. 1, because he's the most recent, but 2, I don't understand how he's going to crack this lineup. And if he doesn't, it's kind of the beginning of the end, which breaks my heart. I hope he freaking figures it out. He's going to have injuries, and a lot of these guys on the back end, you're going to keep hearing me say this, there's a reason why they're ranked this low. There's a reason. He's got to show something that he has not shown in 3 years. He's got to. Hopefully the new team fit. Hopefully Kusarek, gets his hands on him, and we'll see. But outside of injuries, I think the best case scenario for him is practice squad. That's best case. The Niners will have to see something that says, you know what? He's got something we love. We just got to get it out, and it's not there yet. So best case for Marlon Davidson is put some good film on tape during preseason, during training camp, during inter-squad game, all that kind of stuff. That's his best case. Maybe land on a practice squad somewhere, then eventually get an opportunity due to injuries or whatever else. That's it. So Marlon Davidson, welcome to the faithful, baby. Glad to have you on the roster. You showed glimpses a lot. You didn't show glimpses. You were consistently great in college at Auburn. You just got to tap into that. Delete Atlanta. we were throwing that away. We need Marlon Davidson from Auburn, not the one with the Atlanta Falcons. So, again, thank you, Brian White, executive producer of this show. And there we go. Another one down, number 90 on our 91 49ers 2023 roster countdown.